My name's Amy Starkey. I'm the Regional Director for Jockey Club Racecourses East Region, which means that I look after Huntingdon, Market Rasen, Nottingham and Newmarket Racecourses. I'm in my 6th year, so this is my 6th season at Newmarket. So I'm the MD of Newmarket, essentially Huntingdon, Market Rasen and Nottingham, but at those 3 racecourses I have a general manager. So I spend probably 80 to 90% of my time here at Newmarket, and I'm responsible for the day-to-day delivery, and then the rest of the time managing the small courses, but not every single day at the small courses, so not the day-to-day responsibility. Running race courses is simple in the sense of you're running commercial businesses, so you're maximising your income, you're controlling your costs to deliver the best possible bottom line profit to facilitate reinvestment, because with a jockey club, what I've found is that each race course, the successful running of it, is almost articulating what the core strength in that business is. And that can be either a USP or it can be a number of kind of key themes, key strands to the success of that business. Kempton was very much based on a kind of volume model. So the more race days that we staged, the more profitable that Kempton became, and there was a very big conferencing and events piece to that business. At Newmarket, you're running best-in-class racing. You've got key festivals, which really is a kind of key area where we've seen growth over recent years. And of course, our music business, which now in partnership with Live at the Races, so a joint venture called Jockey Club Live, we've seen huge successes. So music is a massive part of the business here at Newmarket Racecourses and indeed across the Jockey Club. So I guess you could say I'm a racecourse manager and a music promoter, and luckily we work with a great team at Jockey Club Live to deliver 20 plus music events across the Jockey Club, 8 of which this year are staged here at Newmarket. So it's a massive part of what we do. And I guess you could say it's a fun element to my role and the business that we're doing. But, you know, whilst it's fun, it's also incredibly challenging, making sure that you have the right artists to entertain both your racecourse visitors and also your music fans. We've been staging music events here at Newmarket Racecourses for over 30 years, so we've staged over 200 shows. Our capacity figure is 22,000. We stage anything between 90 and 22 race days over a 3-month period here on the July course. I think inherently by delivering that number of music events over a 30-year period, yes, we are a racecourse and we're built as a racecourse, but we are also a music venue. And I think when we are looking at development plans, then we take into account the music events that we're staging. So I think where the July course is amazing is that we have successfully staged over 200 music events, many of which have been sell out at 22,000. We're delivering great racing and great music events as well, and the two from our business perspective have worked well, because what you've got is you're bringing in a new audience that, if I'm doing my job properly and the team are doing our jobs properly, that we're converting those music fans into racing fans and vice versa. So it's kind of integral to our business. And I think where Newmarket is different to other race courses is that we can get a music artist, and that music artist can sell out just by sending an email to our own database. It's very, very strong in terms of that relationship between people, racing fans, people paying to go racing, and people coming to see our music events as well. That's our business model, and actually we apply that same business model to music and racing, our key festivals, in terms of we always perform better financially by volume. So we're much better selling 22,000 tickets at £10 than 2,000 tickets at £15. But we've purposely, across all our events, kept pricing low to stimulate demand to get to that sellout. But where we have got a bit more intuitive over recent years is that supply and demand piece. So when we know there's demand, then we do revenue manage our pricing structure. But we always give the best price to our existing customers. Since the involvement of Live at the Races and the joint venture that we've built with the Jockey Club operating as Jockey Club Live, it's exponentially changed how we deliver music. And I think that's from both the operational expertise and how we're delivering the music, the artists that we're hosting, and just the general relationship between promoter and venue is really strong, because it's a joint venture. So by the very nature of a joint venture, it automatically brings the teams together because you're all working towards the same aim. And I think the example that I would use is in 2008, we formed Jockey Club Catering, which was a joint venture with Compass. And previously, our relationship with our catering was a different financial model. As soon as we went to a joint venture, it proved so much better in terms of what you're actually delivering, because everybody's working together for the same aims and objectives. We stage 8 or 9 music events each year. In terms of the kind of year-on-year performance, it isn't really comparable because of the type of artists that we're hosting. So and again, artist availability and tours and everything like that is kind of integral, and the work for next year is happening. So it's very much artist driven, and once we know the artist that we'll be having each year, we then budget accordingly as to how many tickets they sell and what that delivers as a business. What I would say is that Newmarket Racecourses as a whole, if you compare 2016 to 2011, across all areas of the business, we've seen a good level of growth. We've always found that the kind of, the Madnesses, the Tom Jones, the kind of legend artists have always performed much better for us, because the crowd arrive early, they're engaged in the racing product, they'll eat here, they drink here, they'll be watching the racing and betting on the racing. So those are the types of artists for us that have always historically performed exceptionally well. So the nights are kind of, the adult audience, so to speak, and then the summer Saturdays live that we do are around welcoming families and driving the kind of younger audience through our Saturday afternoon programme into being our racing customers as well. I think, the society in which we live is changing and will continue to change. And I think in terms of the Little Mix concert that we hosted here in June, there are kind of lessons that we can learn from that, and maybe tweaks that we can make. But I think what we need to recognise is that there were very robust security, stewarding, first aid processes in place on that evening. And yes, there were a handful of people who, unfortunately impacted the enjoyment of people's experience at Newmarket Racecourses. But we've been doing music for over 30 years. We've staged over 200 events, many of which, what would it be, over, I think I did the figures, I think over 50 sell-out events, so all at 22,000. So it was an unfortunate set of circumstances that resulted in receiving some negative coverage from the Little Mix event. But of course, as I said, society's evolving, and the way in which we operate our venues, we can never rest on our laurels, and we always have to, it's kind of every day's a school day. And, the Little Mix concert was a school day in the same way that tonight and Saturday racing tomorrow afternoon, there are things that come up in certainly in my businesses that are sometimes unprecedented, and you just have to react and learn from those situations. I think it was certainly the initial customers and the people that were very active on social media. I spoke to every single family, and I'm happy with how the team and I dealt with that. We spoke to a lot of customers, but we must remember that there were 22,000 people there, the majority of which had a really good evening. I think discussions are still ongoing in terms of the changes that we'll look to make. I think we will see slight repositioning, so actually better communication across all of our channels when people are booking tickets, so they actually understand what they're attending and the experience that they should expect when they get here. And if you break down the number of new customers, the number of children that we had at the Little Mix concert, that's exponentially greater than any other night we've ever staged. So I think the type of act that we stage on a night, I think, needs careful consideration, and the demographic or the fan base that each of those acts have. So I think, you live and learn, and there are definitely things that we are looking at. There is no need to make fundamental changes for this year because all of the booking data, the number of children registered for our next sellout event, Ollie Murs, is significantly less than it was for Little Mix. So we constantly review and we'll look at how we communicate and how we position our events for 2018. So Newmarket Racecourses stages 39 race meetings each year, 22 of which are staged here on the July course from June through to the end of August each year. So it's a very intensive racing period. When we finish racing in the winter, we essentially move house in the autumn, back to the Rowley Mile, and we put the July course to bed for the winter because there isn't the fixed infrastructure on this race course as there is over on the Rowley Mile. So when we start to wake the July course up in February time each year, Julian and the Symphotech team come in and start the stage setup, and then we start to set up all of our marquees and our site to enable us to be able to stage the 22 race meetings here with a capacity of 22,000 people. And if you break that capacity down, we host about 1,500 people at its peak in hospitality. And all of that is through temporary facilities. Annual badge holders, we have 2,500 annual badge holders across the two race courses. They are housed in temporary facilities here. The owners and trainers who are obviously running their horses, they're all out of marquee facility. So the build of the July course is actually quite significant and takes us a long time because for all intents and purposes, whilst there are fixed buildings here, a vast majority of the operation is as a result of a temporary build. So the Jockey Club has a group deal in place with Arena Structures. So they not only do the marquee structures here, but they do all of our internals, which is a new agreement that we had with them this year. And they've done an amazing job in terms of, quite often, sometimes you can go into a marquee, can't you, and think, oh my God, I really feel like I'm in a marquee, with the kind of drapes and things like that. Where Arena have been amazing is really kind of giving it a permanent feel and a very kind of Jockey Club brand feel as well. We have a number of screens around site, all of which are done through a group deal with ADI Screens. So we have lots of different contractors. So my operations team, headed by Gemma Steve, do an amazing job in terms of not only delivering the race days over on the Rowley Mile plus our busy conferencing and events business, but also working with a lot of contractors in terms of both setting up and then delivering the 22 race days here on the July course. So there's an awful lot of work that my 55 strong permanent team do. At its peak, we have 2,500 people working on site. That would be across the July Festival and the sellout music events. And I'm incredibly lucky because all of those people work exceptionally hard, and there's a great family feel here at Newmarket. And yet we get under pressure, and yes, we deal with challenges, but I'm very lucky that I work with an amazing group of people, whether they're directly employed by me or our contractors or our partners. So it's we face our challenges, but on the whole it's exceptionally good.
My name is Julian Spear. I'm the production director for Jockey Club Live, and my company is called Symphotech Limited, and we cover, apart from all the production, we also have a complete team of safety officers around the country that we look at all the production safety for all of these sites, and dovetail in with the safety officers on site running the racing and we basically knit the two together to actually run the concerts. 3 years ago now, the whole contract went out to tender to run the concerts for the Jockey Club. We put together a joint venture company idea as opposed to just a subcontract with the Music Plus Sport guys, and they brought me in to oversee all the production and safety, and we put the tender together to run the shows, book all the artists and everything like that, and here we are. We successfully got the tender and we've been running it now for 3 years, and it's been great, really, really, really good. Our role is mainly down to production safety, all the CDM roles of contemporary structures, construction and things like that. But obviously we work closely with the racecourse when we've got a big show in, which means we double up on safety officers looking at stuff. The Little Mix thing was basically something that got completely out of reality to what actually happened. There were no major incidents, but there was a few complaints and things like that, and obviously the usual thing, the press got hold of it and it all went mad. The reality is that there was a couple of guys who were a bit drunk and they were stumbling about and they fell over one of the kids. That was the incident in reality. From a safety point of view of the course, there are no improvements that need to be made. We've got great teams here, we cover it all very well. You're always going to get a few drunken idiots. It's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about that apart from, pick them out, get them out if you can, and stop them bothering other people. Yeah, so under the Music Plus Sport banner, we basically go out and do the independents as well. So other race courses like Newbury and York, for instance, who are independent. This year they've been running into some of the football clubs, rugby clubs, cricket clubs and things like that to expand the whole thing really. But obviously doing that has enabled us to book more artists on more of a tour situation than just the number of shows that they could do for Jockey Club itself. So it's a win-win all round from an artist booking point of view. With Music Plus Sport looking at a lot of these other venues, the number of actually venues that we can book for the artists means that we can get them on more of a tour situation rather than just the number of gigs that they might be able to do for Jockey Club. Because obviously dates are always a problem in terms of can you do this, can you do that. So the more we can offer them, the more they can go, oh, that works. Yeah. Instead of 2 dates with Jockey Club, we can around the country now basically give them 6, 7, 8 dates, and obviously that works for everybody. Production wise, we can now look at so many dates. It's one of those things, the more dates you can pack into a week from a production hire point of view, the cheaper it gets. This year, for instance, even on lighting, I think we've had 4 lighting rigs going around the country in trucks to cover all the events. But from a cost point of view, if you can use it twice or even 3 times in that week, obviously the kit price comes tumbling down per show. So it is very cost effective. Newmarket is a completely unique site, and we run 8 shows here throughout the summer. So, as much as possible that we can leave in and leave installed, obviously is really, really cost effective. As you can see, it's a rather unique situation of having to have a stage built between 2 grandstands, literally 180-degree viewing. They all stand in the grandstands on the sides as well, so it's got to work for everybody. Historically, we've had just an ordinary sort of oblong tower stage in here, but if you look at the shape back there, it's actually a complete wedge shape between the grandstands, so it's much wider at the back than it is at the front. So we've always had a lot of wasted space that we couldn't access to a degree. So this year we decided we'd scrap the whole thing and start again. We did a whole load of groundworks underneath the stage to flatten it all out. We built concrete piles into the floor to bolt the towers into the floor so we didn't have to use extra ballast. And we wanted all of the underneath of the stage completely clear span so that we have masses of box storage and a band room underneath and things like this. Half the stage up there is bespoke made. Bits and pieces for days just to make it fit into that space. and we maximised every square inch we can up there now to do it, and it's great. It's really, really good. So the stage here, we work very closely with Serious Stages. They have the capability with their manufacturing to make lots and lots of bespoke bits that has been needed here to get this in. So we work very closely with them, myself, my production manager and their design team, to come up with something that will work in here long term. We've got it in now. I mean, it literally took, what, best part of 8 weeks to get this in here. Now it's in, we're just looking around now at just tidying little bits up, if you see what I'm saying. We're just going, right, where could we just slightly improve that or that for next year? But probably 95% of it now is really good and working. The next thing we want to do on the wedge shape is get the sides of the top of the roof linked into the sides of the grandstands to get the weatherproofing completely sorted. But the grandstands are not a uniform shape down the sides, so trying to pre-plan that was like, no, that's not going to work. Let's get it in, and then once it's in, we can basically look at the profiles and work out exactly how we're going to do it. But we actually want to get the whole roof sides actually linked into the side of the grandstands. But we've got to be careful there. We can't just start bolting into that because they're Grade 2 listed buildings. So we've got to be very careful about what we do. You've got to remember, this course is not open all year. The July course here is only open from the end of May until the end of August. And then it is completely closed down and everything moves over to the Rowley Mile course, which is just up the road. We'll drop the sheets off the roof and things like that for the winter, but the decking in there now is going to stay. We will mothball it now, cover it, and it will stay in now for the whole winter, because getting that out again now would be a huge operation. We use Neg Earth for all of the lighting. Their operation is capable of giving us the right supply for all of the events going off through Jockey Club and Music Plus Sport. Same with audio, we use Clare Brothers. They've just expanded their operation because they've just bought Brit Row. So in terms of resource now, engineers and what have you, then obviously that's expanded there, being able to cover all the shows and what have you. But we use the new Clare Code 12 audio system now on all of the shows, which is absolutely tremendous, and all the engineers absolutely fall in love with it. As you can see here, it's quite a complicated setup because obviously we're very wide and narrow here, so we have to put a left and right on the stage and then a far left and right to cover all the grandstands, and then we've got other stacks right up on the tower there to cover the far end, and another stack on the grandstand there to cover down there. So there's a huge amount of audio goes in here just to make sure everybody is covered. So the other good thing we had here this year is that they have spent some money and put in a full main supply into the stage. Previously we had to run generators in behind the stage. Hiding generators was not the easiest of things to do. So we've got a brand new main supply in to run the shows now. But we still use Midas to do all the electrics for the show. But barriers, we use Ali Stage, we use Rock City Crew across the country, who I have to say, again, it's this continuity thing. We get crew arriving that know the score, how to operate here, and all the rest of it is a big advantage because they are quite special places to work in.
My name's Tom. I'm one of the crew chiefs for Rock City Stage Crew. We come up in 6-man teams to the race courses. We do a pre-production build day where we install all the lights and the sound with the house technicians. And then on day 2 we have the touring artists arrive, which you can see now. We're doing the build for them. We're doing artists from Jess Glynn, the Kaiser Chiefs. We've done Ollie Mers. It's Boy George with the Culture Club. There's been quite a lot of different touring artists this year. The guys right now are putting together James's touring backdrop. They're assisting the backline techs at the moment, helping with the build, getting ready for stage times. Band arriving late, really, there's no pressure for us. We just got to get it up the ramp a bit quicker, help their guys get it set up nice and quick. The house technicians themselves, it's a bit more of a curfew issue for them, trying to get everything set up before the races. But yeah, we just got to make sure it's all built in time. With that is what we do. We are the local crew, but for Symphotech and the Jockey Club, we tour all around the country doing this for them. Helps keep a bit of continuity then, because obviously we know it's the same build, the same lighting and the same sound build for every single show. So it's good to have the same guys know what they're doing. They can come in. Then when the touring artist arrives, it's just a normal gig. It feels like a home venue no matter where you are in the country. To me, it is just boxes on wheels. We know what we're getting with the lighting and the sound. We know what's going to be in the back of the truck. When it comes to the touring artist, it's a surprise. Today was a trailer, so everyone was quite happy. Sometimes it could be 4 trucks. We won't know until the show day. Pete, the production manager, and Julian are usually quite aware of what's happening. We normally find out on the weekend that we get there. I run the Bristol crew for Rock City. Our main venue there is the O2 Academy in Bristol. We provide a lot of cover to them. And then any venues in the southwest that require us, really, book us. We do the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff, do things down in Butlins, the Colston Hall in Bristol. Pretty much production shows nearly every day of the week. Keeps us very busy. So I spend most of the summer with the same 6 guys on this run. Everyone knows what they're doing by the sort of first or second show. Helps us keep professionalism and keeps the client happy.
Hi, my name is Tom Cossovich. I'm system engineer for Brit Row on this event. This is a jockey club event, which is a clear contract, but Britannia Row is facilitating as a clear UK representative. I'm in charge of setting up, designing and tuning the PA and having it set up to hand over to the engineer when they turn around. So I decide where stuff goes, where it gets flown, and I time align everything and make it sound decent. We brought also the control package for them. So there's a PM5D at front of house and VIE 6, I believe, on stage, Soundcraft. And all the control package is provided by Brit Row. We had a sound check due for 2 o'clock. That was a scheduled sound check. Band is not here, their front of house engineer is here. So he's had to listen to the system and he's happy. It's all on show file, so it's not an issue for us really. Everything's been line checked and we know everything's in the right places, so shouldn't be a problem. We brought it in this morning. Obviously they need to test that all the mics are plugged in the right holes and everything's working and there's no buzzes, but because they have their own mics and their own stuff, you always use the same desk with the same mic, so you're going to get the same level. It kind of puts you in the ballpark right away. From the console front of house, we have the main hang, which are the 2 front ones. It's a Code 12, it's 8 Code 12s, which is the main system for Claire. And then on the side hangs, you have 12 Code 8s, which is a baby version of the same Claire family array. And then on the floor, we have CP218s. We have 9 of them and set up in a cardioid configuration. So I cancel sub on stage. I've just been told that some of the members don't really like sub on stage. So you time align and move stuff around. So you cancel some on the front and cancel on the back. And then we got little fills like over on that tower. There's a couple of boxes, and same out there. There's another delay to cover that back end over there. These subs are extremely powerful. I mean, they're considered by Claire specs, they say that they're at least 2 to 2.5 times any other sub that there's on the market. So you don't really need that many. And the reason we have 9 is because a cardioid configuration works in blocks. So it's in blocks of 3. So every 3 subs, there's 1 that's facing back and 2 facing forward. So that's a block. So you just build blocks out of 3s. It's been here all summer. So most of it is in. We basically just have the equipment is here. And we came yesterday and we just fly the PA, just send it up in the air, and then just set up the subs, bring out the subs. But all the amps are already underneath the stage and stored, and all the drive snakes to send signal already run, and so it's a little bit easier than coming in with nothing there.
I love Newmarket, and I think there's so much potential still here, not just at the racecourses, but actually across the town as well. So I think I've kind of got my work cut out here at the moment. I can't see me going anywhere unless my boss has got another idea. We have a number of customers that are repeat and a number that are new. So for hospitality, I think it's something like 70% repeat customers, 30% new customers. And I think what we've seen growth in all commercial lines, but particularly in hospitality, and we're actually looking at a scheme for next year on extending the number of facilities over there, because they're improving, sales are improving, and if you deliver people a really good experience, they're happy to pay for it. And I think people's perception of value is about the quality of the experience that you deliver. And if you fall short, whether it be in the quality of the marquee or the fact that the roof's leaking or the fact that they experience poor service, no matter how much they've paid, they're not going to come back. So it's massively important that we continuously improve what we do across all areas, but particularly in hospitality, so that we're keeping our customers happy.